A horse never, sorry. A horse never runs so fast as when other horses are trying to catch up and outpace them. Ovid. Competition is a controversial subject. Some people say that you should only compete with yourself, whereas others use competition as a vehicle to make themselves more productive and more successful in their life. I'm personally a fan of healthy competition because it fuels me, it motivates me to know that there's people who are better than I am, which is exactly why in this week's episode of MasterTalk, I'm going to teach you the 3 lessons I learned from competing my life that I learned in every presentation. Hi everyone, Brent here from MasterTalk on your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're talking competition. So let the games begin. Number 1, have an exceptionally high standard for public speaking. The reason I became who I am today is because of business competitions. When I was in business school, I used to do these things called case competitions. Think of it like professional sports, but for nerds. So while the guys my age were playing baseball or rugby or soccer, I wasn't one of those guys. I did presentations competitively, and that's why I learned how to communicate ideas. And just to give you all context, hundreds of students every year apply to be a part of this competition program, but only 70 people actually get in every year. And out of 7,000 students who actually study at that faculty, only 1% of them are actually a part of this program. Which means what? It means I had a really strong community of people who kept pushing me to be a better speaker. To be great at communication is one thing, but to be the best out of that elite group of students was something that was truly special. And they constantly pushed me to become the communicator I am today. So what's the lesson? The lesson is surround yourself with people who will constantly push you and ideally try and make it a competition, even if it's in a small way. Look at other influencers in your space. Look at what your mission is in life. Who's doing this right? Who's doing it wrong? And more importantly, use the people you're competing with as a leverage to make you stronger in the same way that when I started MasterTalk, all of those people to this day give me new video ideas for the channel that I didn't really think of. Number 2, creating an enemy for some of us pushes us to give our 110%. Michael Jordan, arguably the best basketball player of all time, cites creating enemies in his basketball journey as a key motivator to make himself the exceptional talent he was at the time. And the reason I bring that up is because when he shared that in the famous documentary on Netflix, The Last Dance, everyone was shocked. But when I listened to the documentary, it actually made a lot of sense to me. Because when I was the head of the business competition program in my local university, that's exactly the mentality we had. One school in particular that I won't name in this video was on a 7-year winning streak. 7 years. And they weren't super nice. At least I thought they were arrogant, but hey, who am I to judge? But the point I want to drive is I wanted to break that streak. I wanted our school to be the first one in the competition's history to beat that school streak. So we worked triple the time. I slept very little, probably 3 to 4 hours a day. And I'm not joking. I would coach all of these students day and night, even during the holidays, like Christmas and New Year's Eve. I didn't spend holidays with my family for 3 years because I wanted to win that badly. And it pushed me to become the communicator and the coach that I am today. I'm not saying you shouldn't see your family. Family is important. But the point that I want to drive is that creating an enemy for some of us could actually be valuable. And the way of starting that conversation in a healthy way is the following. Who is trying to get in the way of the change that you're trying to create in the world? Let me repeat that again. Who is trying to get in your way for the change that you're trying to create in the world? And this question really helps you think about, who isn't doing this right? Why is it that this problem exists? And when we can focus on that person or that institution or that organization, it might motivate us to triple the time and get the results that we're looking to in our life and especially our communication skills. And finally, number 3, learning to deal with high pressure situations is what cultivates an elite presenter mindset. We would spend months preparing for these business competitions. Christmas, New Year's Eve, Halloween, literally every single weekend, we would be living in the university practically and getting coached by some of the most senior executives of different companies. And the reason this was so important for all of us was because we had a carrot on the stick. If we did well at these competitions, a lot of the executives would hire us out of university. They'd say, hey kid, here's a job. So we went into those competitions with a level of focus and tenacity that most people who get the same business education don't really spend enough time on, and that created a unique advantage. But one other fun fact that I'll share about that competition program to make it a lesson for you that's easy to implement is most of the people who we actually recruited to join this business competition program were professional kickboxers, had already black belts in Taekwondo. For those who don't know, I've done martial arts for 5 years. And they put themselves in really intense situations. Some other woman I remember hiring for the program was already holding 2 full-time jobs and a full course load. She was that efficient with her time, and that's what made her the ideal candidate for this competition program. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because tenacity, perseverance, and high performance can be cultivated if you're in the right environment. So what's the advice? The advice is find one thing to push yourself out of your comfort zone today. One group, one workout in the morning, something to really push. Because if you're able to do that, when you go back into presentations, it'll be actually a lot easier for you to deal with because you know you did something harder than public speaking ever could be. And that's what helps build up the confidence, the conviction, and allows you to do the harder thing outside of the boardroom, outside of the classroom, outside of the presentation room, so that when you're inside, you crush it. As Ovid taught us, competition, even if you use the analogy around horses, is still true. It pushes us to be better if we're up against exceptional people. So even if you're not a fan of competition, I implore you to consider it. Think about small ways and how you can push yourself. It doesn't need to be crazy like a business competition or doing martial arts and kicking people in the face. It could simply be healthy competition, racing with your significant other, with your kids, the people around you, and that's fine too. But motivate yourself to aspire for more. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And if you know one person like me who loves competition, send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to mastering the sport of public speaking. Take care, everyone.